Hey gems! So today I created a summer bronzed makeup look for you. I know a lot of you guys have been wanting to see this tutorial, and especially with the red lips that I have absolutely been loving. And I did find a lipstick that wasn't completely matte, but it was very close to MAC Ruby Woo. So I hope you guys enjoy the tutorial. Please let me know what you guys think in the comments. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and hit that little red button down below. Subscribe, become a member of the M's Gems family because it'll make me smile, and everyone's prettier with a smile on their face. So I'll talk to you guys later. Bye! First, going in with the Targeted Tone Corrector from Vanity. I've been loving this and been using it absolutely every day. To prime my face, we're going to be using the NYX Pore Filler. I really like this and haven't been giving it enough love lately, so I thought I would use it in this tutorial. For foundation today, I'm going to be mixing two. The first is the Rimmel BB Cream. The second one is the Kat Von D Lock-It Tattoo Foundation. I do have a darker color in a sample pot. That's what I'm going to be using today, but I wanted to show you guys the packaging. I love this foundation, and I'm going to be using the Real Techniques Miracle Complexion Sponge Damp to pat that all into my skin. To prime my eyes, we're going to be using the Milani Eyeshadow Primer. This is my absolute favorite primer from the drugstore. To give our eyeshadow something to stick to, I'm going to be using the NYX eyeshadow base in the Skin Tone shade, using a brush and blending that all over the lid and a little bit into the crease. Next, going in with the Maybelline Color Tattoo in Bad to the Browns, I'm going to be putting this on the outer half of the lid to add a little dimension to our eyes. The first shadow we're going to be using is Wet n Wild Creme Brulee, and with a flat shader brush, we're just going to put this all over the mobile part of the lid. Today I'm going to be using two different eyeshadow palettes. The first one is the Too Faced Chocolate Bar palette, and the first color I'm going to be using is called Marzipan on the inner half of my eyelid. The second shade is Salted Caramel, using a fluffy blending brush as our transition color in the crease. The second palette I'm using is the NYX Nude on Nude palette. Now, unfortunately, these colors do not have names, but the first color I am using is a medium gold color on the outer half of the lid with a smaller tapered brush for more precise placement. Now going in with a deeper bronzy shade with a Real Techniques base shadow brush to start deepening the color in the outer V to create a smoky effect. Going back to the Too Faced palette, I'm using White Chocolate as a brow bone highlight with a Real Techniques Essential Crease Brush. To smoke out the lower lash line, I'm mixing Hazelnut and Amaretto using an e.l.f. eye defining brush, placing that all the way from inner corner to outer corner, making sure that the top and bottom shadows connect, then blending to soften the bottom lash line. To add a little dimension to the lid, I'm using MAC Tan Pigment. This is an easy way to get more dimension to the eyes. Using the same e.l.f. brush we used for the lower lash line, using just what was in the cap, you want to pat the brush to your lid to avoid any fallout. Moving on to liner, I'm using a gel liner from Essence with a Real Techniques fine liner brush. Starting in the middle of my eye, pulling outwards, then filling in the inner corners, and finish by adding my wing. I found this method the easiest way to apply liner, and it just gives you more control. Time to curl our lashes and add some mascara. I'm using the CoverGirl Clump Crusher to separate my lashes and topping that with the Jordana Best Lash Extreme Mascara. I didn't film it because there's no special way to put on mascara, just do it how you always do. Concealer is next, and I'm using a combination of the NYX HD Photogenic Concealer and the e.l.f. Under Eye Concealer and Brightener Duo. First, using the NYX to cover any dark circles and clean up under the eyes with a tapered brush from Crown. Then using the e.l.f. concealer to brighten up the under eye area just a bit using the beauty blender I used for my foundation. Using the NYX Brow Cake Powder Kit to fill in my brows, first taking a little bit of the wax to keep my brows in place and help the shadows to stick, then mixing the two colors together using a brow brush from Real Techniques. I like to start in the middle of my brow just as we did with our eyeliner, and then filling in the rest of the brow. Finish by combing through the color with a spoolie so it is nicely blended. Using the NYC Smooth Skin Setting Powder to set our concealer with a setting brush from Real Techniques to make sure our concealer stays put all day. To contour, I'm using the NYC Bronzer in Sunny with an angled contour brush from Coastal Scents. This is the best matte bronzer I have found, and it only costs about $2. Very comparable to the Hoola bronzer from Benefit. To add a pop of color to our cheeks, I'm using the NYX Stick Blush in Pink Poppy. Just dab a little directly onto your cheeks and then blend it in with a stippling brush. To make sure that color stays all day, I'm adding a little bit of the Balm In-Stain Blush in Argyle with the same stippling brush. You don't have to do this, but because I have oily skin, cream blushes tend to fade on my skin, so I like to seal it like I would my concealer with a powder blush on top. Time to powder our skin using the NYX Stay Matte But Not Flat powder with a big powder brush. If you like a dewy finish, you can totally skip this step, but because I have oily skin, I need to set my face with a matte powder. I'm just spraying a little of the NYX Matte Finishing Spray. To bronze up the face, I'm going to use a little bit of the e.l.f. Golden Bronzer with a blush brush, just on the high points of the face where the sun would naturally hit. Okay, for the lips, I'm going to be outlining and filling in my lips with the Sephora Lip Liner Pencil in Pleasant Plum, and then topping that with the Maybelline Color Sensation lipstick in Red Revival. This is a perfect dupe for MAC Ruby Woo if you want more of a satin finish as opposed to a matte finish, but still that bright, vibrant red color. To complete this look, I'm using a touch of the Bare Minerals Mineral Veil. I find this gives the perfect airbrush finish to the face. I hope you guys like this tutorial, and I'll talk to you guys later. Bye!